I'm 4 months into my low buy year and I have some thoughts. Since that $800 coffee machine that I impulsively bought in month 2, I've made some improvements to the way that I'm dealing with my shopping tendencies and how I'm moving forward in this low buy challenge. And I think what I'm gonna share might be helpful for you too if you're also doing a spending challenge and it's just not going the way that you had maybe hoped it would and you need some inspiration to keep going. I'm gonna be sharing the mindsets that were holding me back. I was in my own way, and the things that I'm doing practically to stay motivated and inspired during this challenge, because without those two things, a low buy can get pretty dull very fast. I'm also going to be sharing something that I've been doing to get that boost of dopamine when I need it without buying anything, so make sure you stick around to hear that because I think it could help you too. Let's get into it. Okay, so on the topic of mindsets that were just holding me back in the beginning, I was truly in my own way and I was politely called out on it a couple of times in my first low buy video. And so I did a little bit of reflection and decided that I needed to maybe shift the way I was thinking. Mindset number 1 was that perfection was the goal. And honestly, perfection is just overrated. A low buy and a no buy challenge, it's impossible to be perfect. You know, life happens. We need to buy stuff sometimes. Sometimes we slip up, we slip into bad habits, and things just don't go perfectly. But when I had that mindset, and you know, I've been a perfectionist almost my entire life, at least as long as I can remember, it was manifesting in the form of self-criticism. Just watch that first update video and you'll see what I mean. I was very hard on myself when I would spend money that I didn't believe to be essential or was kind of outside of my low buy rules. And it was pretty harmful in a way that I didn't actually notice until I was politely called out on it. And so now I am moving forward with just more acceptance with how my low buy goes. You know, not every day is going to be perfect. Not every week I'm going to reach the set dollar amount that I have set for myself to spend on takeout or coffees and whatnot. And not all the time I'm going to be buying thrifted items because sometimes convenience trumps that, if that makes sense. So perfection is overrated. If you're also a perfectionist and you feel like your low buy or your no buy challenge is just going downhill, take a step back, be kind to yourself, and then move forward with acceptance and positivity. Because if we're too hard on ourselves, the whole challenge just becomes this massive bout of self-criticism and negativity, and that's not what we're here for. Surprisingly enough, when I let go of that perfectionist mindset, I actually started to see more success throughout each week of my low buy, at least most recently, because I wasn't being so harsh on myself. You know, it's amazing what can happen when we are just simply kinder to ourselves. So thank you to the 2 people who commented on my last update video and gave me a gentle nudge to be a little nicer to myself. Mindset number 2 that was really holding me back was that rigidity would yield the best results. And we're gonna switch this out and say that flexibility actually yields the best results. And I've found that since I have been more open to adapting and compromising within my low buy rules, I've seen more success, and I feel like I've been growing more in a sense, you know, in my mindset towards spending money and just my shopping habits in general, because low buy and no buy rules are meant to be guidelines. You know, they are obviously set in place to create boundaries on our spending, but I don't think that it has to be so black and white. At least for me, it definitely was not working, and I felt very boxed in, if that makes sense, because life happens, you know, needs arise that we don't foresee, and sometimes we have to buy stuff that's not included in our allowed to buy list. So I think that we all just need to be a little bit more flexible, and if you're being hard on yourself like I was for spending, you know, $20 over the set amount that you created in the beginning of your challenge, just let it go, you know, move forward and say, maybe next week I'm gonna spend $5 less than I did this week. And that's how we progress. That's how we grow, people. We gotta be flexible, we gotta compromise, and we gotta just meet the needs when they arise, but with intention. Okay, now into the juicy, practical way that I'm staying motivated during this low buy. It might help you as well, and that is just listening to a podcast that allows me to see things from a different perspective. So recently on my 14 Things I'm Not Buying video, someone kindly commented that I should check out the Dave Ramsey's 7 Baby Steps. Essentially, it's 7 baby steps towards financial freedom, and I checked it out. It's really cool and it's very practical advice, so that might be something you want to take a look at. I'll link it down below if you do. But as I was looking into that, I found out about his podcast, The Ramsey Show, and so I've been listening to that just to give myself a fresh and wider perspective on what my money is really worth, what it could be doing for me and for my life and my family if it wasn't being spent on needless things. Because for me, I think I can get really caught up in just the whole numbers game. How much did I spend on this? How much was I over budget? How many things did I buy in this particular month? And as much as that can be helpful, I think it's also important to take a step back and look at the big picture from time to time. So this podcast has really been helping me out to just stay motivated and get excited about the potential of using my money for other things. I will link that podcast down below if you want to check it out too. Along with motivation, I also think it's very important to stay inspired. I personally get very inspired by seeing the way that other people live, especially if it is a lifestyle that I kind of desire for myself. It might not be, 100% replica that I'm looking for to recreate in my own life, but there might be certain ways that people are living or doing things that I can take inspiration from and slowly incorporate into my own life, if that makes sense. So one of the more recent things that I've been doing to stay inspired is reading, and I've been reading Simply Sustainable. It's by Lily Cameron, and it's basically just practical ways to move towards plastic-free, nearly zero waste living. And I really like it because it's not super rigid. It doesn't tell you to completely get rid of all the plastic in your life and, go full out doing that type of thing. It's more about slow progress and small improvements, baby steps essentially towards living more sustainably. And this gives me a nice perspective on consumption in general, which I really appreciate. So I've been enjoying this book. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out, but I think that this should be available at your local library too. Personally, this was on sale for $5, so I had to get it because I am going to continue referring to it. They've actually got a page in here that is a guide for storing fruits and vegetables, so I have that bookmarked because I've been using these tips for my own fridge and pantry. But think about how you want to live your life. Think about the lifestyle that you desire, and then get inspired. Find people who are already kind of living that lifestyle. Maybe it's a book that they've written or a podcast that they host, and listen and read and just immerse yourself in that lifestyle. Because I think a lot of good can come from changing our perspective on consumption. The subconscious is super powerful in my opinion. And even if we're just listening to these things and kind of putting those thoughts into our head, it can slowly seep into our own ways of consuming and spending our money. There are a lot of documentaries on consumption and waste from consumption in general. There's a few that I've watched that I really enjoyed and found very insightful, so I'll link those down below if you want to watch them as well. Okay, we all know that shopping releases dopamine and endorphins. When we buy something new, it's just like that happy hormone gets flowing in our bodies and we feel good, but only temporarily. So what I've been doing to kind of get that same feeling and get that boost of dopamine instead of buying stuff has been creating something, anything. And this could work for you too. It is scientifically proven that creating actually does release that dopamine hormone and makes us feel happy, which is awesome. That shopping isn't the only answer, obviously. That's why we're doing these challenges, to teach ourselves these things. but it could be painting, it could be drawing, it could be knitting, it could even just be doodling on a piece of paper. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of craft supplies for this. It's the act of creating that actually releases those hormones. And I recently read this article in Forbes that said repetitive creative motions like knitting, drawing, or writing help activate flow and are all tasks that create a result. And when you succeed at creating a result, no matter what it is, so no matter if it's good or not, your brain is flooded with dopamine, that feel-good chemical that actually helps to motivate you. So what I've been doing is painting, just listening to some R&B music and getting into that flow of painting and creating something on that sheet of paper. So this could help you to whatever avenue you want to take, just try creating something. See if you get that same feel-good feeling. I also think it's a great way to kind of have a win-win situation where if you're creating something that you desire to put on display in your home, for example, if you're a home decor, fiend like I am, it could be awesome if you created something that you could then put up or display in your home because you didn't have to buy it, you made it yourself. I know this low buy update was a little bit different than my first one. I didn't share dollar amounts or exactly what I bought, but I hope you enjoyed it still or found some inspiration from it. But I would love to know how you're doing in your spending challenge. What have your challenges and obstacles been? How are you overcoming them moving forward? Leave me a comment below and we can chat about it. I would also love to know if you prefer this format of an update or the previous version where I am sharing those dollar amounts. I think it's nice to switch things up from time to time, but I would like to hear your thoughts. Now, if you started a spending challenge to take back control of your wardrobe specifically, I recently shared a video where I exposed the self-sabotage that would happen to me after I decluttered my wardrobe the first few times, and that was, going on a shopping spree, basically replacing everything that I had just decluttered from my wardrobe and the ways that I have stopped doing that, or the things that have been helping me to avoid doing that. So if you think that might be helpful, I will link it up above for you to watch here. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.